Hey guys, so today's video is a little bit different than anything else I've ever done on my channel before, which is in part why I think I'm so excited to make it. I am a little bit nervous as well because I'm going to be very frank with you guys to the best of my ability. I hope I don't offend anybody. If I do, understand from henceforth in this video that is not my intention. I'm just trying to shed some light on something that I've been thinking about for a very long time, and I'm trying to play a little bit more to my strengths as a human being. And one of my strengths that maybe you guys don't know about me, because like, I mean, like, what do you really know about me anyway, is I'm very observant and I think about things like almost to an excessive level. It drives me crazy sometimes. I wish I could just turn it off. So everything I'm about to say is the product of a lot of thought. I might not say every single solitary thing that I think. I might not word it exactly the way that I mean to necessarily, but I really have given this a lot of thought. I actually sat down and started taking notes for this video months ago. I had some reservations about making it because I wasn't sure if anyone gave two shits about what I had to say on this subject. Also, I have so much respect for the person that originally kind of started this type of video, and I kind of felt like I didn't have the right to kind of chime in on this if what I was going to say wasn't in any way going to be better than what she has already said. Earlier this year, I was sniffing around the YouTubes and I came across this really interesting video series from Kimberly Clark. The video series was called Anti-Hauls, and I thought the idea behind them was very interesting. I'll link her anti-haul video down below, as well as her video about consumerism that she made, which I think will kind of further help contextualize this video and her videos and kind of the importance of these type of videos as a whole. Also, please take the time to check out her other videos on social justice issues. To me, life is all about balance. As much as we can kiki around and say things like your eyebrows are goals AF and this highlighter is everything, at the end of the day, they are not. Kindness, integrity, awareness of ourselves and others around us, and the impact that our words and actions have on others is in fact everything. Establishing thoughtful and insightful conversations, issues that have been holding us back as a society since this country was established, and learning and growing together in love, kindness, and positivity are in fact goals AF. Kimberly does an amazing job at creating content that is not only informative and insightful, but it is in no way pandering and is extremely moving and at times hilarious. I freaking love her. Thinking about how we spend our money, in my opinion, hands down one of the most effective ways that we can actively pursue change in our world, either for the good or for the bad. Plus, anytime I'm snooping around on Pinterest and I see like a picture of some gorgeous exotic location that I would love to visit one day, the first thing that immediately pops into my mind is my bronzer and blush collection, how much it's worth, and how many times I could have gone and experienced this real life thing, but instead I just have a shit ton of bronzer. And I just got the one face. Now granted, I'm a freelance makeup artist, but my personal bronzer collection, still way bigger than anyone needs to be. Don't get me wrong, I love makeup. I have for as long as I can possibly remember, way before social media. Way before that, like child status. Ask my mom. I've been doing makeup professionally in one capacity or the other for 6 years now, and my I need to buy everything that every YouTuber I see phase has long since come and gone. But it was definitely there for a while. Now, I think I have a really good sense of the kinds of products that I want to buy. I mean, at this point, I rarely end up with products that I don't either end up using or that I don't end up liking, because I do so much thorough research before I purchase them. I want the items that I buy to be special in some way and not carbon copies of things that I already own. I also care who I buy things from, about their business practices, as well as the ethics of the business, the owner of the business, and any associated personalities with the business. Also, more likely to buy products from companies if they are ethically sourced, sustainable, made in the USA, cruelty-free, or vegan. Because as I said in the beginning of this video, I do believe we can make the most impact with what's happening in big business based on how we spend our money. I mean, if they don't have our money, they don't have a business. I feel like on YouTube it can be a constant cycle of, hey, here's a haul of the stuff that I bought, and hey, here's a tutorial featuring other stuff that I bought, and hey, here's my monthly favorites video where I talk about all the stuff that I bought. I think it's important that I give you guys a little bit perspective, because I mean, I do the same thing. I do favorites videos, I do hauls, I do tutorials, blah, blah, blah. But you guys should know that for every one thing I buy and that I tell you that I bought, there are so many other ones that I did not buy, and I made that decision not to buy them very carefully and after a lot of thought and deliberation. I also think that the hype method of advertising to people in the beauty community has reached a full-blown fever pitch. It is clear that beauty companies are after our money. This is a $60 billion a year industry we're talking about. Recently, studies have been done that show that women are spending more money on makeup and beauty products than they are spending on clothes by leaps and bounds. So it should in no way be surprising that companies are shilling out new collections, what feels like every few weeks there's a new collection, and they're using every trick they have in the book to get you to buy it. Or it's pre-ordering, or coupon codes, or limited edition, or collaborations with beauty influencers. I mean, this thing is booming and it is showing no signs of stopping. Let you know why I want to do these videos. I need to throw out a couple of disclaimers, and then I swear we'll get right in to the brands that I'm going to talk about. I don't have a lot, so I kind of felt a little bit more comfortable with having this great big long introduction, because it will kind of help give you guys an idea in the future of why I'm going to continue to make these videos, and I will refer you guys back to it in the future. Here are my disclaimers. Number one, I can speak for myself and myself only, and that is the only person I am speaking for at this moment in time, I so solemnly swear. Number two, if I mention a product or brand that you yourself love, does not make me a liar or a hater. If I say I don't like something that one of your favorite YouTube personalities or one of your favorite celebrities is either endorsed or collaborated with or creates, I am not calling them liars either. I promise. Regardless of my opinion about these brands that I'm about to mention, or any brand that I mention in the future, or any product, I will try to point out any redeeming qualities about them that I feel I should speak on. I'm really gonna try not to make this like as negative as humanly possible. If I see something that's good, I will say. I promise. Anything ever changes and I decide down the line that I want to support these brands, I will absolutely let you know, because A, I feel like I'm allowed to change my mind. I've changed my mind about so many things that I've said since I started this channel. It's just bananas. And number two, I also believe that it is right to give others, brands included, second chances if they are doing things that are more in line with the types of brands that I want to support. Side note, take a shot every time I say brands. Do it. I dare you. So you guys have been asking me to do very specific things around these brands, whether it's tutorials about them or sharing my collection from them or like whatever. So I feel like this is a little bit of an easier way to explain to you why I will not be doing those things. So let's just get the big one out of the way. Because it's probably the most popular one, but also because the main reasons I don't want to buy from this brand are also pretty much the main reasons I don't want to buy from the rest of the ones I'm gonna mention. Morphe. First heard of Morphe way before Jaclyn Hill got a hold of them, and way before the coupon codes. Even at the time that I very first heard about them years ago, I'm talking this would have been like 2012? Is that right? Been either 2012 or 2013. I already wasn't interested in them. Don't get me wrong, I definitely see the merits and benefits of a company producing super affordable makeup products and brushes, because they're really good for beginners and for people who just do not have the budget to spend the kind of money that brands like MAC or whatever were asking for at the time. Back then, and especially now, I was just at a place in my career where those types of things just did not interest me, and really aren't like for me, because I had already gone through that phase. I first discovered makeup videos on YouTube back in 2007, and for those of you playing along back home, that's 10 years now. When I first discovered this amazing platform, there was already a slew of YouTubers talking about companies like BH Cosmetics and Coastal Scents. You better believe when I found out that there was a way that I could buy brushes and eyeshadow palettes that not only had all these shades that I did not own, but I could have never have afforded to pay for one at a time. Not in a million years. I was in, dude, hook, line, and sinker. I was like the greatest day ever for little old Whitney at that time. Especially because it gave me the opportunity to follow along with my favorite YouTubers and recreate the looks that they were creating and that I wanted to learn how to do myself. That's how I learned to do makeup in the beginning, was through YouTube. 10 years ago, that's how I started teaching myself based off the stuff that I learned from YouTube, which prior to that, I had no idea anything about it except that I loved it and wanted to know more about it. When I first started building my freelance kit, it was pretty much comprised entirely of those types of palettes. I mean, I bought the eyeshadow palettes, the blush palettes, the lip palettes, the contour palettes, all of it. I bought them all. Bought them all. And I was happy as a clam. I was getting ready to do this thing that I loved to do, and I was able to do it because I found a way to build my kit, and it was affordable and manageable for me at the time. But I've outgrown that. And I know you're kind of like, we're talking about Morphe. What are you talking about, Coastal Scents and BH Cosmetics? At least in the beginning of this Morphe process, I've heard, you know, things lately that they don't private label anymore, which is great. That's my dogs. My dogs are running all over the place right now. I'm sorry, I hope it doesn't bother you. What was I talking about? Oh, at least in the beginning, and at least for the majority of the time that Morphe has been around, it was private labeled, which is also how Coastal Scents and BH Cosmetics are able to produce their palettes at such a cheap and affordable price. Really no difference. That's all I had to know going into it, to know that it just wasn't for me. But then coupon codes happened. Look, who the hell am I to hop on my high horse and try to guilt people to not making their money? Make that money, dude. Do it. I want you to. I actually think it's incredibly exciting that brands and influencers are able to work together so closely nowadays in order to create products and get it in front of consumers. They didn't have that when I was a youngin'. Magnitude of the value that influencers bring to these brands in this situation are invaluable, which is kind of my problem. Brands give out coupon codes to influencers, and especially when they give them out to every influencer, creates this relationship where it falls upon the influencer to push this coupon code on you every chance they get in order to make money off of it. Do I think that these people are necessarily lying to you in order to do that? Maybe not. Probably not. I hope not. But they do have to push it. That's just the way it has to go for them to make the money off of it. So imagine you're subscribed to only 23 beauty influencers, and if you're like me, at some point at least, you are subscribed to many, many more. I mean, if I had to guess, I'm probably following 200, 300 makeup artists, beauty influencers. So there are times, and there have been many times, where Morphe comes out with something, whether it's a palette or a brush set or whatever the hell, and it's all I see for days. We're talking Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, YouTube. It's just in my face all the time. And let me be very, very clear and just say, I am not the type of person that likes to be told something more than once. And I'm definitely not the type of person who's gonna do something just because I'm being told to. That's just me. The bottom line is, yes, Morphe does have really good priced products and brushes that people who cannot afford to otherwise own these things are happy to have and happy to support, regardless of the incessant awareness that is brought to them throughout their social media platforms. But in my opinion, there just isn't anything special enough about them. Anything that is special about the brand, I honestly feel is there because of the YouTubers that are basically the faces of this brand that they actually don't have any say or control over at the end of the day. I feel like even if Morphe is giving them 20% commission on every time you guys use those coupon codes or like whatever it is, it still isn't enough. I'm sorry. I feel like YouTubers made that company what it is, and they could never be rewarded enough as far as I'm concerned. Hear you me. You can get basically the exact same palettes with the exception of the collaboration ones that they put out from BH Cosmetics, Coastal Scents, eBay, all of the things. There's other ways to get this type of product. You can get really awesome brushes from Crown Brush, Royal and Langnickel, Delium Tools. There's other places to get reasonably priced brushes. You're probably picking Morphe because of the relationship that you have with a YouTuber or Instagrammer that promotes them. At the end of the day, that's the perceived value that you find within this product line. Because I promise you, everyone outside of YouTube and Instagram doesn't even know what a Morphe is. I promise. I promise. Those of you that have been asking me to do looks using Morphe palettes, please bear in mind that there is absolutely no look I have ever created that you guys cannot create with whatever it is that you have in front of you, high-end or low-end. Use your imagination and get creative. I mean, there's no need to go out and buy this one particular orange eyeshadow because I'm using it, so you should go buy it. No, don't do it. No need. You probably have an orange eyeshadow by now, and it will work. I promise. At the end of the day, I want the bottom line for my channel to be technique trumps product every time. Use what you have. Gerard Cosmetics. First things first. I like lip products and all, and I have literally a ton of them. That thing right there, that lipstick tower in that acrylic drawer, is basically filled with nothing but lip products. There are 2 drawers on this bigger stack over here that's nothing but lip products, and I have regular drawers down here on the side that are full of nothing but lip products, and my professional makeup kit has its own collection of lip products. Like, I'm trying to tell you, I've got a lot. So for that reason, it's extremely difficult for me to justify spending a lot of money on them. It just is at this point. I can't imagine anyone's gonna come out with something that I don't have something almost identical to, regardless of what brand it is that puts it out. The story here is basically the exact same story with Morphe as far as how I feel, except that in the case of Gerard, I don't see any redeeming qualities about that brand. Sorry. Remember watching YouTube back in the day, and I'm thinking around 2010, when the first incarnation of Gerard Cosmetics, which came in the form of Whitening Lightning, was out there, and the influencers were talking about this lip gloss that lit up. And even back then, when those videos were circulating and that version of Gerard Cosmetics was out, I still thought it was way overpriced for what it was. It's just lip gloss that lights up. I wouldn't buy a lip gloss that lights up any sooner than I would buy a bronzer that plays music. Like, I don't, what? And I will tell you, there were a few moments back around 2014, I think, where I even went so far as to get a few of those lip glosses into an online shopping cart and was about to hit complete order, and then I had this moment where I was like, wait a minute, Whitney. Take to the gram, read some comments, look some things up, and I made it a point not to read any reviews or watch any YouTube videos from anyone that had a coupon code affiliated with them. Not because I think that means that they were lying, but I just think it's important to remember that influencers are not the only people that try products. They're just not. So most of the time when I really want to know what's going on with the product, that's how I get my intel, so to speak. And the reviews for the products at that point were not good. Not good at all. In fact, one of the bigger things that was like really commonly complained about that I couldn't get over was the packaging. The packaging thing was like my first moment that I had, because these lip glosses were like $24 and the lipsticks were $20 at the time. That's crazy. That's more expensive than MAC, which is a company that's been around forever. At the time, the lipsticks were being shipped in bubble mailers, and the lipstick themselves were not in a box. It was like literally someone took a lipstick, dropped it in an envelope, and sent it to you, and then the packaging of the lipstick itself was like a cheap, flimsy plastic. Okay, all right, it's what's inside that counts, I guess. So what about the formula, everybody? The other thing I read time and time and again was that the formula was crap. Sometimes you can produce a product that if you don't get like the what am I trying to say, the price point and the quality to be somewhat even, the quality of the product and how bad it is will instantly become amplified because there's this huge gap between the price and the item in my hand in terms of the value I see in it. You cannot produce a $20 lipstick that's not amazing. You just can't do it. I can't believe they got away with it. I really can't. Obviously, any one person's opinion is not gospel, but like I said, I did a lot of research about this, a lot of it. I'm trying to tell you, and I just trust my gut on stuff like this. On top of that, so if you have had good experiences with Gerard and you do love their products, awesome. That's great. I'm so happy that you spent, I'm not being sarcastic at all. I am happy that you spent your hard-earned money on something and you were happy with that purchase. I chose to go other ways, and other people have as well. For all I know, the company has stepped up their game and everything is on the up and up now. For all I know, that's the case. And if that is the case, that is awesome. That's great, and that's what companies should do, is constantly be improving their product if their customer base isn't overwhelmingly pleased with the product. But it doesn't matter anymore to me because now Gerard has fallen into the same category as Morphe. Built on the backs of YouTubers. Nothing really special about them, their business model, nothing. There's nothing super special about it. Like, let's be honest. If you really just want to support your favorite YouTubers, not only is that super sweet of you, and I do mean that, I feel like sometimes when I say positive things in the midst of negative things that come across as sarcasm, but I'm not being sarcastic. I do think that's a really nice thing to do, and you have the right to do that. I think that's wonderful. All the hype around it just turns me off. I'm also not a fan of some of the things that the owner of the brand has done and said in the years past, and I don't really know like anything's changed. Like I said, I don't really pay attention to it anymore, but it did happen, and at the time when things were going on like that, I just didn't like the way that it was handled even after the fact. Not a fan. I'm also not really a big fan of some of the people that are associated really closely with the brand for my own reasons. You can Google it. I don't really feel the need to go into it because there has been a lot of information already brought to light about it, and I don't really feel like I have anything new to contribute to the conversation. But I also understand, completely understand, there's always going to be people who say, well, the owner is the owner of the brand. It has nothing to do with how the products perform. I love the products. I don't care what the owner does. And that's totally fine. You should support who you want to support. I get it. This video is about me and why I choose not to support someone. And at the end of the day, I don't like self-important, entitled, rude people in real life or at the heads of the companies I buy from. That's all I gotta say. That's all I have to say about that. Kylie Cosmetics. I don't give a shit about this brand. Refer back to what I said about lip products. By the time Kylie released her first wave of lip products, I kind of feel like the market had already reached a saturation of them. I mean, we're still seeing them come out all the time, and I'm sick of them. Sick of them. It had already been done to death by then, and that was 2 years ago. I guess Kylie saw this and decided, hey, you know what? Let's throw a lip liner in there too. Which, okay, if you're gonna do it, do something different. That's cool, that's fine, that's wonderful. But I also just so happen to have 45,000 lip liners. And also, if you have a good liquid lipstick, you don't need a lip liner. You just don't. I don't care if it comes with the deal. If you don't need it and you're trying to create a perceived value in this product to me by giving me something extra that I in fact don't need at all, sorry, it doesn't even out with me. I also feel the need to be totally transparent about the fact that I am not a Kardashian or Jenner fan. And I don't mean that like I harbor any ill will towards them or have like some deep-seated hatred or anything. I just don't really care. I've never understood the hype. Like, it's fine. And in fact, I've met several of them and they were all very, very nice people, truth be told. But that also doesn't mean that I have to buy a product just because one of their names is on it. That goes back to what I said about Gerard and Morphe. Half of what, if not more, of what makes this company something that most people want to buy from is the person who is attached to it, the face of it. And that's really it. Classic and super effective marketing tactic, and I am not mad at you, Miss Kylie. Get your money. However, that does not mean I have to support it or get caught up in the hype. Don't get me wrong, if Dita Von Teese launched her own line at any time soon, I would buy every single piece of it, pointless, lip kit and all. So it ain't like I'm sitting up here saying I am impervious to this type of marketing as well. I just can't be, I can't be swayed in that direction with this particular line. Can't, won't work, sorry. But $42 for a 9-pan eyeshadow palette is crazy. Makeup Forever prices, that's NARS prices. But in that case, you're talking about brands that have not only been around for a very, very, very long time, but their product development is based off of intel and information from professional artists who work with this medium all the time and can report back and explain how products work on certain people, how they photograph, how they perform in different conditions, blah, blah, blah. Like, I get, to an extent, where they get off charging the kind of money they charge for their products. I do. But I'm sorry. How does a child, she was like a child at the time basically, come out the gate and immediately have the right to charge that much money for products when they have no professional experience with makeup at all, save the fact that the child has been getting makeup put on her since she was in utero, basically. Like, something stinks in the state of Denmark, and I'm just not with it. Sorry. If you guys think Kylie Jenner is in some lab somewhere with her little hair net on and her little lab coat, coming up with these formulas and really putting her blood, sweat, and tears into this, if you really believe that, I got some swamp property to sell you. I just don't believe it. It could be true, but once again, not attached to this person or this dynasty in any way to give me that sense of like faith in what's actually being done behind the scenes. Sorry. I will tell you why she's able to do this and how she's able to do this. Because she's Kylie effing Jenner. Props to young women starting businesses. Because there was a time, there's so many more businesses in this country that are overwhelmingly ran by men that when a girl does get out there and do it, I can't poo-poo all over it completely. Still doesn't mean I have to support it. Also, I don't like shopping for sport. I remember when these kits first came out and there was so much hype. I mean, I was on Snapchat or like Instagram and people were just like losing their minds because they could not place an order and it sold out in a few minutes. And then when the next launch came out, it was the same thing. It was like a sport, which is cool, man. Like, if that's what you want to do, do it. I just don't want to. I got other shit to do. I feel like I need to end on this note. One thing all these brands have in common, and one thing they're doing very well, is getting people to buy their products. Simply so you guys can put the stuff that you buy from them on Instagram. Interesting to me, and also in its own way kind of mind-numbing about the social media influencer culture that we have, especially in the beauty industry, is the spawn of the upcoming ones, or the ones that want to do this. Let me explain. Not only did I not know anyone years ago when I wanted to get into makeup at the very, very beginning of my like early, like 18, 19 years old. Not only did I not know anybody who did this, I literally got laughed at by many people over the years to follow until I was able to pursue this as a career, from people who told me left, rightward, sideways, upside down, you can't make any money in makeup. Or even better, once I first got into makeup artistry and was doing it professionally, every time I told somebody I was a makeup artist, the very first question out of their mouth was, so do you work for MAC? Because at the time, that was where we were. Like, people just did not know all of the things. I mean, there's still a lot of people who don't know, but like, let's get real. The amount of people who are into makeup, talk about it, tweet about it, follow about it, write about it, has grown. The awareness is there now in a way like it has never been before. I bet almost all of you can not only name like 50 people who are making a shit ton of money in the makeup industry in some facet or the other, but I bet you can also name 50 plus brands that make it. Then you cut to 2015 and YouTube and Instagram stars have reached a level of fame that you could call it celebrity status. I mean, I know a lot of people want to be like, they're not actually celebrities. I mean, what is a celebrity? It's a person, a figure who is well known, well regarded, idolized, and looked up to by a lot of people. And some of these YouTubers that are in the millions of subscribers, that's kind of where they are, whether we want to admit it or not. So what happens? You're sitting at home and you're scrolling through Instagram and you see these glossy, like super highly, perfectly produced images of these gurus, what looks like a fabulous career. They're taking trips, they're getting tons of swag, they're making a shit ton of money. They're always looking slay to the gods and they have tons of adoring fans, and you're thinking, I could do that. I want to do that. How do I do that? Like, let's get this party started. What do I need to do? So the first thing you do is you get on YouTube or Instagram or whatever, and you type in how to start a beauty channel, how to start a beauty Instagram. And not only are there so many videos about it now, it's banana sandwich, but pretty much the #1 thing they tell you to do, especially as it pertains to Instagram, is to post pictures of your makeup looks and tag the companies that made the products that you are wearing. Because the idea is then the company, who already has a massive audience themselves of upwards of 1, 2, 3, 4 million people sometimes, and even if all they have is a couple 100,000 when you're just getting started, that's a shit ton more than you have. So that's kind of like common sense, right? Like, that's what you should do. I still do that. Like, that's how you play the game, which is all well and fine. What, you get online and you buy your $45 Kylie Jenner eyeshadow palette and your $20 Gerard lipstick, and you create your beautiful makeup look, and you take your selfie and you post it to Instagram and you tag all the brands that you used in the process of taking that selfie, because maybe they'll share me and then maybe I can grow as an artist or as an influencer, or like whatever the hell you want to do. I'm not trying to discourage you from doing it. I'm just trying to give you something to think about. Like, don't get ahead of me. So after you do that, after you post this picture and you tag these brands, whether that brand shares your work or not, you have just created a piece of content that is growing that brand's recognition through the eyes of the people that are following you. Whether it's 200 people, 2,000 people, 250,000 people, that's one post that has been made that not only did you not get paid in any way to make or whatever, but you paid them to make it, hoping they would share your work. Does anyone see how this is kind of working out in such a way that brands are creating products to get you to post them for them? Is that smart? Is that necessary in the climate that we're in right now, with social media being where all the attention and awareness is? Yes, it is smart. That's what you should be doing. But does that mean you should just be giving them your money because you want them to share you, or that they deserve your money just because they're popular? No, it doesn't. It just doesn't. Sorry. It's not really too surprising why they release pretty much only color products. And what I mean by that is they're not releasing skincare, they're not releasing foundations or concealers or face powders or things that you really have to know your shit to get right. They're releasing lipsticks, highlighters, eyeshadows, lashes. That's not to say that you can't create a bad version of those products. They're just a little bit easier to formulate, and they're also the things that people will actually, that you'll be able to see in an Instagram picture. I am not on Instagram or YouTube because I ever thought that I wanted to be like an influencer. At the time when I started this wasn't a thing, really. For me, it was just, I wanted to share my work, share my journey. I wanted to be a part of this thing that, like, little Whitney back in the early 2000s, who couldn't afford makeup and who didn't even, I literally didn't even know you could be a makeup artist, like, outside of Hollywood until I was 21 years old. That nowadays is insane if you think about it. Like, I literally saw a kid on Instagram the other day, a child, he had to have been 10 years old, putting makeup on his face for Instagram. I'm not knocking this, because when I was a kid, that's what I wanted to do too, but it's just to give you an idea of how young this is starting and how long these brands are going to be able to get their hooks into you and keep you as a lifelong customer. So I think it really matters who you're giving your money to at the end of the day. But here I sit 10 years later after I found it, and it's turned into this whole different thing. It's a blessing and a curse in so many ways. Like, it excites me that I can look at pictures of makeup and find out about products, like, literally in my hand at any time that I want, when that was not an option for me when I was younger. I just don't want to see it turn into this thing where it's becoming a giant commercial for shit that you don't need. That's all I'm trying to say. I'm also not trying to say that people who do this should not make an income doing it. I mean, I have done sponsored videos on my channel. I haven't done that many. I get asked to do at least 1 or 2 a day. Literally a day I get an email from someone trying to get me to either talk about something for money or talk about something for free product, and I turned pretty much all of them down because That's not what I want my channel to be. I want to teach you guys, and moving forward, I really want to focus a lot more on that type of content. I do think there is something to be said for people who are giving you product knowledge. I'm just trying to encourage you guys to dig a little bit deeper and be a little bit stingier with your money. I mean, why not? Everyone wants more money in the bank. And like I said, all this ain't gonna get me to Greece anytime soon. Like, I love it, I have it, it's important to me, but it is not everything. It's not. So with all that being said, I'm really sorry if this video is super long. I really hope that my message comes across the way that I intended for it to, as more of like a, I don't know, trying to bring another aspect of this conversation to the table. Like I said in the beginning of the video, please check out Kimberly Clark's videos on the same subject, her entire series, especially the anti-haul series. Like, I LOL every time I watch one of her videos. Literally, it's amazing and it's hilarious. But please leave any information that you guys have down below about, maybe, it doesn't need to be a negative thing. I don't need to hear about every bad experience you've ever had with any of the companies that I mentioned. But let's talk about some things that we have found that we do really love. Whether it's something that is really, really hyped up on the internet, and it is something that did turn out to be really great, or if it's something that's getting no attention at all and you think deserves some more attention. I just kind of want to change the conversation a little bit about the kind of stuff that we should be buying. But at the end of the day, technique trumps product every time. I hope you guys are having a really, really good day. Please subscribe if you have not. Check the down bar for links to all my social media platforms. Thumbs up the video if you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one.